can't believe it, man. They're not here. They're always here. What the fuck is going on? Today, I want to show you the technique that I'm using to control Singapore daisy and fishbone fern. In this particular instance, that's the predominant weed species, along with everything else that known to humankind. It's all here. There are still Singapore daisy pockets, other weed species, all on the fringes here, but there are also native plants like the bracken, sedge. But here, this area was just completely overrun Singapore daisy, so I've slashed it and sprayed it. It's been a little while now and I've had to spray the Singapore daisy several times, but it'll keep coming back for probably for a few years, to be honest. So it's not a one spray, see you later. It is a technique to try to get success for the long run, to re-establish the native plants such as the bracken here. So what I do is I slash and then I spray, and all the native plants, the ferns, here's a bungle ferns coming back up, some more there, and they are unaffected because I've slashed them. I've knocked all the green material, mowed it down so that I can spray. So I've mowed tracks through where I can and forest mulched with the big machine where it's required, and then left these areas that are a mix of the weed. Here we've got fishbone fern with the sedge, got some acacia in there and Singapore daisy. So I spray these areas either after I've mown down the native or left pockets, and that way I can keep control of the Singapore daisy. I can see it and I can get it. But now it's time to move into those fringe areas and try and get up control of the weeds. So when the areas get small like this, I can cut them by hand or whippersnip in some bigger cases, leaving the weeds there, in this case the fishbone fern. Leave that there so I can spray it. All the natives, they'll be cut down and then left for a day or two to heal, so that they are not affected by the spray. The native plants bounce back. You can see the Singapore daisy is there. The native plants bounce back, so you've got to give them time to recoup, get some energy before you spray again. So it's a real balancing act, but it's one that's going to take many years, where you might have to mow down the native plants once or twice a year to check, make sure that little pockets of Singapore daisy are not just popping up, and that you can keep control rather than having a complete waste of your time. Here's some more fringe areas that I'll be tackling next. So obviously the objective is to have a full native understory again, not having to compete and be overtaken by the weed species, because left alone the weed species dominate. They completely control it, and vast areas that were once full of bracken fern, bungle fern, just get dominated by Singapore daisy. And that's what you were looking at there, except that I've started the spraying process. This area here is a bit more advanced in that I'm still having to spray, do little spot sprays for the Singapore daisy, but can see here that I'm allowing little pockets of the native vegetation to come back. This allows me to keep control by slashing, mowing in between the pockets or the corridors and allowing that vegetation to, under a controlled manner, spread. So as the weeds start to subside, you can allow the natives to spread out even more, creating smaller areas in which you need to mow and control. Probably a good idea to keep those access points and those areas where you can continue to monitor for the weeds, because they will come back. So the goal is to restore the landscape, the native plants, the way it should be, eliminating the weeds and trying to restore that land and let the land restore itself, probably more importantly. Doing supplement planting where needed. This is a little rainforest gully here that I'm working on also.